Our scripture reading for this morning comes from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 9, verses 30 through 37. They went on from there and passed through Galilee. He did not want anyone to know it, for he was teaching his disciples, saying to them, "The Son of Man is to be betrayed into human hands, and they will kill him. And 3 days after being killed, he will rise again." But they did not understand what he was saying and were afraid to ask him. Then they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they were silent, for on the way they had argued with one another about who was the greatest. He sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "Whoever wants to be first must be last of all, and servant of all." Then he took a little child and put it among them, and taking it in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." This is the gospel of Christ. Before I begin, I would like to thank everybody in this congregation that helped with the move that I made last week from Missouri to Whiting, helping unload all of my furniture and my U-Haul and the many gifts from both congregations. It means a lot to me. So this morning we are beginning a new message series entitled, "Where is God Leading Us?" Where is God calling us? We will be reflecting on where it is that the Spirit of God is calling us in our day, guiding us in our day, during this season of ordinary time. Now, the season of ordinary time, the symbolic color is green, like the stole. It symbolizes growth and development. I'm sure living in this part of Iowa that you are all familiar with growing and harvesting. I was amazed this week when the huge cornfield that's right beside the parsonage, I woke up one day and the corn was all gone. It had already been cut down for harvesting. The theme for this Sunday is greatness. Now inside of your bulletin there is a little index card. And during the course of the sermon, I would like you all to think about what your understanding of greatness is. What does it mean to you? And then at the end of the sermon, you have a little bit of static. Is that okay? That's better. Then during the course of the sermon, after the sermon is complete, those of you who would like to share can share what your thoughts of greatness are. If you're a little bit shy, you can just anonymously pass the card to the front and I can read those too. In our scripture text for this morning, Jesus and his disciples are walking through Galilee. And when they get to a house in Capernaum, Jesus has overheard the disciples arguing amongst themselves, and he asks them, "What were you arguing about?" The disciples are silent because they are embarrassed. And the reason that I believe that they are embarrassed is because Jesus has just told them that he is going to die. They believe that he is going to be a king. So they think that means that you are going to be a person of wealth and prestige and status. But they don't realize that Jesus is not going to be that kind of king. And so when they're arguing with one another about who's going to take Jesus' place, the most embarrassing thing is for you to be asked by the one who you're trying to benefit from their death being the next in line. So they were embarrassed. So Jesus uses this moment as a lesson to teach them what his understanding of greatness is. So he sits them down and says, whoever wants to be first must be last and servant of all. This is a completely upside down sort of way of thinking about it that we're used to in our modern Western culture. Many in our society view greatness as about wealth and status and prestige and power. They have the same type of assumptions that the disciples had, that they were going to be people of privilege and status by being the next king. There are some even in the church that have this position that greatness is about wealth and status. They come from what's called the prosperity gospel, which says, I made my money because God blessed me. And if you're poor, that's because you are a sinner. Is this what greatness means? One of the classic movies that's made me think a lot about greatness is the 1941 classic Citizen Kane. Now, I know this is an old movie. Who all has seen this movie? It's an old movie, so I'm sure I'm not going to give away the ending, but it's really a great movie. It's been voted by many people, film historians, as the greatest movie ever made, starring Orson Welles. The movie is about Charles Foster Kane, and it opens with Charles as a young boy in a boarding house with his mom, playing in the snow with his sled. And Charles's mom comes across an inheritance, and it's enough money to send Charles to school and to guarantee his education, and she agrees to have him go with this wealthy banker to raise him. By the time Charles is 26, the inheritance, the trust from a gold mine that's inherited, makes him the richest man in the United States. He makes his living, ends up making his living working for a newspaper-type tabloid. While there, he reaches success by manipulating public opinion. Sounds familiar. And then he goes on and tries to run for governor, but a political operative comes to him and stops him because he's going to let the public know that he's been having an affair with this singer while during the campaign. And so he backs out of running for governor. His wife eventually leaves him because of his dominating personality. He ends up all by himself, alone, in this mansion off in who knows where, with nobody there but his butler. This huge house, all these possessions, all these items, and nobody there but his butler. When he dies, he has a snow globe in his hand. Several other people had noticed that this was the only time he was ever happy, was when he had this snow globe in his hand. And at the end of the movie, he drops the snow globe and says, "Rosebud," and dies. And the movie, very end, there's the sled with the name Rosebud on the back that's thrown into the fire. And then that's the end of the movie, and we're left as the audience deciding, what is all this about? What it meant to me about what he was saying about greatness was that Charles Foster Kane had everything that most people in modern culture think that you would need to have in order to be successful. He had money, wealth, power, but yet all of those things at the end of the day really didn't matter, because he ended up being alone, with nobody there but his money. And the happiest moment that he had in his life was when he was a little kid playing in the snow with his sled named Rosebud. Jesus brings a child amongst them and says, whoever welcomes this child not only welcomes me, but welcomes the one who sent me. A friend of mine, Norm, put on Facebook a quote that sums the sermon up just wonderfully. Character is doing things for others who have nothing in return to give you. And that is what the child represents greatness. Doing things, serving others, the poor, vulnerable, the left out. Jesus says that is what greatness is. And that is where we enter into the presence of God, and God becomes a reality in our lives. And that is where we meet God. And that is where God is always calling us. I want to make a little comment about a mentor of mine that's recently passed away. This week, Bishop John Shelby Spong passed away, and he was somebody early on that really inspired me to want to go into ministry and pursue this calling. He was a bishop of the Episcopal Church, and he was an early advocate for women in ministry at a time when not very many people were advocating for there to be women in ministry, and also gay and lesbian people to be in ministry as well. He was an early advocate at a time when there was no other voices in the Episcopal Church. And when I think about him, I think about his favorite motto, which I think goes along with this sermon, is that we experience God when we live fully, love wastefully, and therefore we can be, when we do that, we can be all that we can be.